Welcome to Real Zeal, a podcast like no other, brought to you by yours truly, Trish Burke.
And James Burke. ADHD is loud, proud and unfiltered.
We are absolutely honoured to bring you all the topics, big to small and everything in between, in a way that is honest, truthful, with a veil of compassion, all in the name of ensuring everyone feels heard and validated.
We can't wait to host a myriad of guests that will blow your mind, and we're going to have candid conversations that will absolutely knock your socks off.
So get your tissue box ready for the tears that you might shed. Pad up because you're going to piss yourself laughing.
Strap yourself in and get yourself ready for some real zeal.
Well, hello and welcome to Real Zeal. I am your host, Trish Burke.
I'm Burke, your co-host.
And we are very excited to share the couch pod room with Lucas, who is joining us today with a fantabulous fairy bread shirt. I'm obsessed.
So good.
Also, someone in the staff room today, Segway, had like a crust of fairy bread that was left on a platter, but it was the butt of the bread. That's not a piece of fairy bread.
That's not fairy bread.
Nobody
That's
wants that.
That's a fairy butt.
It's clearly why it was. It's clearly why it was left on the platter, but it was curling at the edges and it was very sad. Definitely didn't have enough butter, but there was like the stray, sad little bits of
Now,
sprinkle.
did the colour start to, spread in the fairy bread? That's how you know the fairy bread's been sitting there a little bit too long.
Yeah.
No, like this was a dried piece of butt bread. It was not good.
Dried butt bread.
No.
For those who had that on your bingo card for today, that's a sign from the universe.
That's not good.
No.
That's not good. Anyway, I would like to just say that Lucas is a fabulous human being. He and I have known each other for a number of years, pre-COVID in fact, which really states how we measure things
COVID
now.
was yesterday, wasn't it?
Oh, no. When you find things that are in your coat pockets that resemble a fabric mask and you go, what is this relic? You know that it was a long time ago.
I also got to use them when I go and visit Dad in the nursing home and stuff. So
I do use them for clients sometimes, or, if the GP makes you put it on.
I do remember the old face shields we had to wear.
Oh, the Stormtrooper shields. Yeah. I found those in the cupboard when I was cleaning those out at work.
That would have, in the end, effectively done nothing because it turned out to be airborne, not droplet-borne.
Yeah, but,
But
we had to
didn't know that
protect
at the
the
time.
eyes.
Exactly.
And I found a whole box at work of the, safety goggles.
Oh, yeah.
For when we were
nice.
protecting the eyes with the shield, with the mask. I don't know what we were thinking. And we wore gloves like
You guys
Michael Jackson.
Going paintballing?
Well, it looked like a paintball outfit.
Yeah.
Let's be honest. Well, we're not really sure where we're going to traverse today, but
No idea
Lucas
what we're
has a
talking
lot to offer. He works with tiny humans.
How tiny?
They range in size, but the really weird thing about tiny humans is it's really hard to pin down how big they are because the longer you're around them, the bigger they get. And, so
And you're not getting any taller, friend. You
I
are a
most
petit
certainly am
pouton.
not. Yes.
A delightfully cute.
More petite.
More petite.
What kind of work do you do with said tiny humans?
Well, it's an interesting question. I am sort of, as Trish would say, a bit of a superstar. I like to think of myself as
I say it often.
a multifunctional, practitioner. So behaviour is my specialty.
Okay.
And I love the very broad definition of behaviour which we have, which not unlike occupation, it's basically how do we occupy our time, as Trish would say in occupation. But behaviour is how do we respond to changes in our environment. So basically everything that we say, do, think, and the way that we act out, that's behaviour. So my job is working with tiny little ones and helping them, I guess, navigate the complex world that we live in through behaviour. So increasing the behaviours that we really want to see and helping them to sort of replace some of the behaviours that maybe are not serving them with something that's a bit more functional.
Love that.
That's so cool.
Using all the buzzwords.
Oh,
that an OT
he knows
would
what to
use.
do.
He does know what to do.
I've heard of OT before, believe it or not.
What? Sorry, what do they
Funnily enough, Lucas and I spend a lot of time in each other's back pockets co-consulting, and it does bring out the best in the tiny humans that we see collaboratively.
Yes.
So I do like that, and I do love that Lucas has a real lens of people being able to be themselves, their authentic selves, and I think that resonates very well with the Real Zeal potty in terms of, well, we just want people to feel like they can be their authentic selves and, having people in our corner, allies to help navigate that with us, I think is such a powerful thing. So, yes, big thanks to you for being a safe space for so many tiny humans and families out there that are searching for that validation of who they are and
Absolutely.
their uniqueness being brilliant. And a lot of the kiddos that you work with are neurodivergent. Like, that's not a secret. But yeah, I think pouring into others, particularly others that may have needs that are different to our own, can sometimes be like exhausting, rewarding but exhausting, hand in hand. What would you say about that, Lucas?
It's so interesting because I've been doing my role now for many years, over a decade, and I don't feel old enough to be saying that, but we've gotten to that point. And
He's the boss, guys. He's the boss.
Thank you. Yeah, it's really interesting where I've been doing it for long enough now, where previously I always understood on an external point of view, I guess, carer burnout, and I guess we use the term carer burden, or it's not the nicest sort of saying, but I'd sort of always understood it. I'd sort of always lectured on it. I'd mentored my staff to really understand that concept, but I hadn't sort of experienced that myself. And I guess in the post-COVID era, which has been a while now, I've sort of found myself getting a little bit more burnt out here and there. And it's really funny because in the early days working, people would say, oh, your job must be really rewarding. And I sort of didn't really know what that meant. I enjoyed my job. I loved my job. I actually made a career move to move into this field, and gladly so. Really happy to build a career in this field. And so I just kind of assumed, well, everyone loves their job. And if you're loving your job, you must be getting some reward from it, right? But interestingly enough, that's not the case, I suppose. And I definitely do find it rewarding, and particularly as my business has grown and as my staff load has grown, one of the things I lecture my staff on is, when they're having a really big moment in therapy or, professionally or otherwise, I just sort of say, take a snapshot of this moment, think about what it feels like, and hold on to that moment. Because when you are having a tough day, these are the moments that you hold on to. And I've since come to realize that that's the reward. Those snapshot moments that you can look back on 3 years, 5 years, 10 years plus, and feel a lot of gratitude and know that you've done a good job in your career. That's the reward. But I guess the flip side of that coin is sometimes, the rewards come, and in those interim periods, we do get tired. And there are those consequences of being a little bit burnt out. And, I'm going on vacation soon, thank goodness.
Is that what you were booking when you were saying, I'm booking some things, I have to go? And I was like, fine, ditch me for booking.
Where are you going?
Yeah,
booking some beautiful flights, going to so far Japan, looking at a few different locations, maybe Korea, maybe somewhere a bit different. But that's one of the things that I've sort of really had to learn is, just because I love my job and want to put a lot of hours into my job and deliver better results for the humans, if I'm not taking time to look after myself and manage that burnout and rest, then I'm actually not putting my best foot forward. So it's one of those things that managing, as Trish would know, when you run a business, you've got a lot of stakeholders. There's never enough hours in the day. There's always more jobs to get done, and there's always more fires that are popping up. But we do need to structure time to rest, recuperate, and enjoy life as well, because there's more to life than our occupations and our labour.
Well, this is me coming out of burnout, and now, what am I, 4 months? 4 months out of work since I got made redundant, and I've only applied for 3 jobs in that time.
Because you're in the rebuild, Burke. We talked about
I'm in my redundancy era.
Yeah, it sounds cool though.
But it's
Taylor
great.
Swift might write a song about the redundancy era.
Oh, how cool would that be?
I'm starting one in my head now.
Okay, well, yeah, we know it's going to be playing at the end of this episode. But it's that thing of going, I didn't learn that had to be built in along the way kind of thing. And so I got to the point where it all fell apart. Had to pay the price in the kind of wrong way and go, actually, no, it's taken me kind of almost to now, 3-4 months without working, to feel like I could actually potentially look at working again, because there wasn't that built-in rhythm of actually, no, I need to prioritize this along the way. The cumulative effect is then crap.
I'm so cooked, I can't move or pour out of the very empty cup that is drained.
One of the really interesting things that Trish and I have spoken about for half a decade now, and it's become a personal passion project of mine because of the wonderful conversations that Trish and I have had. But it's all about like nervous system regulation and really understanding, I guess, reading our sensory cues, reading even our thought patterns and again, behavior, the way that we're responding to our environment, to those changes, and how is that reflecting what our nervous system is experiencing. And it's crazy that it took something so drastic, like a redundancy, which is by all accounts not ideal, but in a way it's maybe the wake up call you needed, that hey, something needs to change, and then suddenly having that stop and actually going, oh, actually it's nice to stop, and actually maybe I don't feel guilty for not applying for jobs in redundancy because maybe I need to rest, you know.
Yep.
And I think that's been a really cool thing to hear you journey through, particularly we've had our conversations on the podcast about it, but just the fact that that time and space has allowed you to feel like you can be your authentic self stepping into the next season of whatever that looks like.
Well, that's it. I literally was recording a video cover letter for a job application on Sunday, and half of it was me talking about the fact that, hi, I'm James, I have ADHD. This is what life is like for me and things like that. And so being able to now potentially put myself out there into the workplace again, going, this is me, take me or leave me, but I'm not going to compromise now and try and change and mask who I am just to fit your box.
But also, I think the narrative is really shifting around neurodivergence and actually not coming at it with, oh, that's a negative thing, it's a disorder, it's a dysfunction, it's a whatever, but actually saying, hey, I am neurodivergent, but the differences in the way that my brain works actually is a value add for you.
Absolutely.
And this is why. And if I am given, you know, the opportunity to perform under these conditions, or I've got the opportunity to have some flex in my starting times, etc., I'm going to be so darn productive for you. You will be so kicking yourself if you don't pick me. And I think the shift in that positive regard of how we view ourselves individually as neurodivergent individuals.
Welcome to the club. I do it every episode.
Yeah, don't worry. I'm always like, I drop my balls. But like the way that we talk about ourselves and the way that we pitch ourselves, if we're like, oh, like I won't talk about that aspect of myself because it's not very positive, or I won't actually, you know, talk about, you know, the fact that this is a really big part of my life. One, it's part of who I am and how I'm wired and how I work. But if we're not actually viewing that positively ourselves, how is anyone else ever going to view that as a value add?
The really interesting thing that I've sort of really attached onto lately, I've just gone back to uni, which for me is really, really stressful. And again, being neurodiverse, bluntly, school's not my favourite. Was never my favourite. Still not.
Are
my
you doing
favourite.
this distance ed by any chance?
I am
like
doing it
online's
distance ed.
kind of that's not the
First
optimal
mistake.
environment for
Thoughts and-
any neurodivergent individual.
Thoughts and prayers for me on that one, I'll say.
All the way. We will channel it from this end of the couch.
But,
But friend, that is not for anyone that is of the potential ADHD mindset. That you need a friend. You need dopamine. There's no dopamine in like watching a video on your own. All by myself. I hate this subject. Like, is that really what's happening?
Absolutely.
You probably love the content. I'm probably very excited about what you're learning, but maybe the delivery of it, not having some peeps to whisper to next to you in class, like, would that be value add?
There's definitely a bit of that. Yeah, the content's interesting. There's parts of it that I really like. There's parts of it that I maybe don't love as much. Some things I agree with, some things I don't agree with. And that's one of the interesting things. But one of the things that we're talking about in this particular course, it's in education, is the concept of creating educational programs which are accessible to everyone. And you know, one of the concepts that we talk about is the idea that if you restructure your environment to be neuroaffirming, you know, to be accessible to everyone, you may do that for one person in a classroom. You may do that for one person in a work environment, but actually 80 to 90% of the people, and the research bears this out, 80 to 90% of the people actually benefit from that too.
Yeah, exactly.
1,000,000%.
And so they might not need that, but they certainly do benefit. And I think that's as you were saying, the concept of this is me, this is who I am, and there is a superpower in that divergence. And you will, especially if I'm hyper-focused on my special interest, which for you is video, I will do a bloody good job.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you know, there might be things that I might need to do a little bit differently. But hey, actually, if we implement some of these things that are a little bit different for everyone, actually you might find a more conducive work environment for everyone, and productivity may well actually go up. And there you go.
I love that. I love that. And I think that whole premise that if you do something that will support a number of people that would benefit from that, the people that don't necessarily know that they need it will actually go, hey, this is a different way to do things. This may be a little bit more enjoyable, or this is maybe a little bit more interesting, or actually I didn't really know that I had that need, but now that we're doing it this way, cool.
Well, it was really funny. At my old workplace, when I built the studio space at my old workplace, I would use that as my secret little office to sneak off to and get out of the open plan working environment when I needed to concentrate on some stuff. And then just started to let people know, like, hey, like, if I'm not recording in there, like, you'll see the lights on. If there's no lights on there, and if you need to go have a space where you can just sit quietly and focus, go for your life. And the amount of people are just like, oh my goodness, this has made such a difference when I've had to try and get this report written or something like that. I'm just like, yeah, absolutely. Like, it's, you guys aren't neurodivergent, but you're benefiting from
a cone of silence,
Exactly,
like those little offices that have those little glass
I really want one of them.
container things where it's like a pod that you go into to work that's silent and like noise cancels everything, and you can just, or you can play your music really loud, whatever works for you. I saw a funny reel today.
Is that the one where the husband's pranking the wife? No.
It was a man on an aeroplane, and he was in a business suit, like typing furiously on a laptop, but he had an A4 piece of paper stuck to his shoulder that says, do not talk to me. I need to complete this report by the time we land, and I will talk your bloody ear off if you get me started, and I need to focus. So please leave me alone.
Nice.
All in all caps. And I was like, I've had people in my workplace that I have hired have to put signs on them like, I'm trying to do my notes. Please don't come into the room until I'm finished. And
I'm
it's on their
having
back.
Trishy time.
Yeah, basically.
I've literally had to leave the office because some people wouldn't stop doing it. Like, I have to go and get this done. I'm going home.
Yeah,
Like,
well, sometimes it's hard to do. And if you're in a managerial position, if you're a director, it is really difficult when you're trying to get your own work done. And anyone that's ever managed people, you would know this too, Burke. But like, when you're managing people, you want to be accessible, approachable. You want to answer their questions because that is what you're there for, to teach, to mentor, to support, right? When does your to-do list get done? Because you are doing a very significant part of your job by supporting your team and supporting your staff. But like,
there's still stuff that only you can do.
yeah, and then you come home and do it at like 10 p.m. after you've finally done all the other stuff.
Yeah.
And then we get into burnout territory.
Yeah.
One of the things that I've done really well is you can buy these devices that you're supposed to put on the fridge or on the wall.
Oh, the brick thing?
The brick thing.
Where you tap on and tap off when you can get on your apps that are like distracting apps.
I've never heard of that.
I've never heard of this.
Oh, I
It sounds
bought
very
one.
new agey.
Yeah, I bought one and it's in a box somewhere. Like,
Did you buy it because you remembered you bought it?
I bought one for me and Chantel, and
nice.
she's using it.
You'll have to show me
Great.
after the
I
pod's
will.
over.
We will. I'll get it out. It's called the brick.
The brick. So this is like a photo frame, but you open it up and you can put your kids' artwork in there. And it actually stores quite a good ream of artwork in there, which is amazing. So
It's
for
a
parents,
photo frame.
a photo frame. It's got
But
a
it's
little
got a clear
hinge on
front?
it. Clear front.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, beautiful. So I put those on my door, my staff member's door, my consultant's door. And I've actually made different posters that say I'm on a Zoom call, I'm on a phone call, I'm working.
I'm crying.
Or I'm available. And
Leave me
for
alone,
some of
I'm
my
not in the
staff
mood.
who, are religious, we've also put prayer ones so that we
That's
know
cool,
not to
yeah.
disturb. There's been a few
Lovely.
times I've knocked and so one of those things. It's actually been really transformative. There's been a few times where I've been in the middle of something really urgent or I've been on a phone call. People have come in and I haven't loved the way that I've responded by putting a hand up or doing things that are really
like-
dismissive and like not right now and actually just having the sign there. We don't need to have that conversation.
Yeah.
And it's actually a really nice boundary.
super
It's a
good.
boundary that you can sort of load and then you don't need to have that conversation.
set
And
and
people are
forget.
really respectful.
It's giving
So
a
really
communication
good.
tool to avoid having
Absolutely.
to have that conflict.
Yeah.
To go, yeah, hey, look, this is the space I'm in at the moment, so we'll deal with that after.
Yeah.
At the neurodivergent clinician symposium that I was at a few months ago, we all got given 3 different coloured wristbands, like the ones that you get at the swimming pool, the rubbery ones. One colour represented open for a chat. The other one said no hugs, no touchies. And then there was one that was like, please don't talk to me.
Can we just have these for everyday life?
So, yeah, 100%. So anyway, this system worked really well because everyone was briefed on that on day one.
Yeah.
Everyone got it
Yeah.
in their little
Yeah.
party bag or their whatever, their loot bag. It's not called that a
It,
conference.
it,
The
it is a loot
delegate bag.
It's a loot
They
bag.
were and so you
Bribes
could
so you
just
come back
choose
again.
and you could switch them out as you felt. You could have the no
That's so
touchies
cool.
but talk is fine, or
Yeah.
you could have the no touchies, no talk, whatever.
Yeah.
Amazing. It absolutely transformed because obviously,
What if you
you
wanted
see
touchies but no talk?
well then you just put the no talk but not the no touchies.
Oh, right,
button.
okay.
Yeah.
You got to be creative.
Exactly.
You can pick and mix, man. Pick and mix, and you can two for one. I mean, if you got all three on, that's a bit confusing. But look, the crux of it was I was telling a parent about this because they've got an adult child that they're still very much hands-on supporting to live independently, but they would really benefit from that type of a communication. She was like, "Where do you get these?" And I said, No, they're not like something that say things on them. It literally was something that everyone was briefed on. This colour means this colour means that, and the last colour means this. And it was a visual identifier. So from afar, you could go, oh, they've got a white wristband. Definitely not going over there because they're clearly wanting some space or needing some inside my own head time.
Yeah.
The interesting thing I find about that is, as you said, that was a system that was very clearly designed and communicated. But I think in the right setting with the right people, we work in a lot of schools and we work with a lot of education professionals and things like that. I just think of many schools that I've gone into and made those kind of recommendations. And I think with the right brief, the right tools, it's all about functional communication, right? So
100%.
if someone's able to just make those really quick signals, and everyone's across it, again, that's another thing that the 80% can really benefit from. And I'm sure you probably would have found at the conference, I'm sure other people had that experience too, of I'm going to be wearing green all day or whatever color it was. I'm going to be open and receptive to being spoken to and being touched. And then you probably would have surprised yourself with, actually, I'm going to put the white band on right now. I'm actually going to take a bit of a break, or I'm actually a bit mentally drained from that last seminar. I just want a bit of time to reflect. And it's really interesting how I think we sort of surprise ourselves with, we all need those little sensory breaks.
Yeah.
We all
If
need
it's a
processing
moment.
time.
And I think that was it. I think even for myself, extroverted, but I get to a point in conferences probably around 2 p.m. after lunch, obviously when the food is digesting and I'm like, But they had excellent seating options where they had bean bags where you could recline. They had a trampoline room for if you had the zoomies.
Beautiful.
And then they had like a Zen room that was dark. And you went in there and they just had stars projected, and you had to be silent. You weren't allowed to click clack on your keyboard or anything. You had
Snoring?
Snoring? Yeah.
Well, I don't know.
This-
Maybe
2 o'clock in an afternoon
there
in
were
a dark
pillows.
room.
You could
I'm
maybe just
not
like
staying
muffle
awake.
someone out if they were snoring. But like I even know for myself, I need some time, and I even was like, actually, I'm going to carry them in my pocket so I can flick them over as needed. I found myself only needing a quick, brief interlude of the no talkie, but other times, like happy. All fine, all good. And I think we don't have to be consistent. We talked about this in our last podcast, that consistency is not necessarily being the same every minute of the day, but it's actually honouring where you're at in each moment of the day and acknowledging that might be different to 5 minutes ago.
Yeah.
And that's cool too. Like that's still, but it's functional communication, whether or not you're doing that verbally or whether you're doing it with a signal or a gesture or a sign on the door or, a hand signal.
Can I ask you a question then kind of comes back to your work then with this whole idea of functional communication?
Absolutely.
Do you think that also helps with the behavioural side of thing if we can kind of have that functional communication need set up in the first place? It reduces some of the impacts of behavioural responses?
Absolutely. So I think one of the big definitions that floats around out there is that all behavior is a form of communication.
Ross Green, for those listening or viewing, Ross Green is the guru for that quote.
Apparently.
Yeah. It's a quote that floats around and everyone sort of says it, and it's because I think we all, on some primal level, we all really identify that we all act out through behavior. How many times have we been in an argument with a loved one, or we've been feeling a bit frustrated, or we're in sensory overload, and we act out through a behavior. It's our instinct, it's our primal, it's our, talking about the vagal nerve system, it's our fight or flight, and we just act out through behavior. But really what we're trying to do is we're trying to find the path of least resistance
Yes.
to get to the functional communication of this needs to stop, this needs to go. We need to get this behavioral outcome. I need to have satisfied the desired outcome, right?
Yep.
Forgot the question. But I don't know
No, I was
if
just
I'm
going to say, like,
right.
having these functional communication framework structures, does that kind of then help circumvent it getting to the point of the communication is only then through a perhaps negative behavior?
Yeah, I definitely think so. Look, it is complicated from a
Yeah, yeah.
behavioral lens, because once a behavior exists, it becomes
The norm.
from a neurological point of view, we develop those neural pathways. That becomes our go-to, right?
yeah.
I like to say, if a baby is crying because it needs milk, well, then it learns that, okay, crying is the best way to get reinforcement of the milk, right? So as we grow and as we develop, we find new ways to reinforce getting what we need achieved, right?
Yeah.
And so we do develop these neural pathways. But I think my job as, a behavioral consultant is to restructure and actually create easier and more functional ways to achieve reinforcement of what we're looking for. And at the end of the day, I think we all just want to feel seen, heard, and understood.
Yep.
Right.
100%.
And so that's exactly the point. So if we can functionally communicate what we need, we really get to exactly the crux of the. If we can get what we need done in a faster and more direct way, then of course we're gonna
Pick the direct route.
exactly.
So if punching someone in the stomach to say, I don't want to do that anymore, was effective, because obviously all your other non-verbal cues or verbal cues were ignored or dismissed, or like, no, let me just try and encourage you anyway. Obviously that becomes well, I'm just going to go straight to that because clearly that worked and you stopped
the job
bugging me
done.
at that level. And I think that's the other side of things. Like, it kind of goes hand in hand with informed consent and those types of things. Is we actually, if our first point of communication was heard and acknowledged and understood and received, we don't need to keep persisting.
Yeah.
So one of my professional idols that I love, who I've had the opportunity to meet, is Dr. Greg Hanley. He's from the US and he comes out to Australia. Out to Australia a couple times a year. And, one of the programs that for me was really transformative, and I'd sort of understood functional communication, and that was one of my passions as well. I've been sort of driving down that road for a long time. And then I watched some of his research and some of his lectures, and he came up with a very specific script or phrase that he uses, and it's, I want my way, right? What does my way mean? Well, I will show you through my behavior. But rather than acting out through behavior, the very short script of saying, I want my way. And straight away we reinforce that. We go, sure, what's your way? You can have that. Sure, have it. Go do the thing. And that's actually a really, really nice way of saying, this is not working for me. I need an escape, and I actually just want control and power, and I want to be empowered to do the thing that I want to do. And I think exactly as you said, it's consent. It's just saying, I'm actually withdrawing consent and I want it my way. I want to make choices.
Yeah.
And then we can scaffold, we can put in more steps, we can put in more tools, and we can teach the learner to say no. We can teach the learner to more clearly articulate, well, what is your way? Yeah, your way. You can have that in 1 minute, or sorry, you can't have my way right now. It's one of those things that we can add different layers to, but that's one of the tools that I found amazing in functional communication, is just saying, actually, it's not working for me and I just want my way. I've had enough, my way now.
So simple.
Yeah.
Dare we teach our tween girls that?
Pandora's box.
Wow.
I'm going to leave you to deal with that one first because yours is slightly older.
Man, you want to be the guinea pig.
I'm the guinea pig with the teenage boys. It's all right.
It's true, but like, I feel like our fellas might be like similar.
A lot easier.
They're so chill. They're so chill.
My mum, I'm one of three. So I'm the youngest, I'm the boy, and I have two older sisters, and my mum always said that teenage girls, little girls, easy. Teenage girls, suddenly they just become harder. There's just a certain point.
Easy.
That's what my mum said. So
Yeah, okay. Little boys easy, big boys easy.
You reckon?
I'm sticking my guns on that one. Well, it depends what kind of girl you have.
Depends what kind of boy you have as well.
I used to work at Woolies, and one of the things that I could always tell was if a mum was a boy mum based on how much mac and cheese was in her trolley. And I would always make the joke, and the mums 100% of the time they got it. I'd
Do
see
they also
some.
have toilet plungers in there? Because that's like a backed up loo.
It's the magical mystery of the teenage male body
There's
of just
endless.
you can pour as much
endless
food
pit of
as you
mac
want
and
in there,
cheese.
and
You
it
can-
doesn't.
oh.
Yeah,
It's something. There's something weird and wonderful and magic, and then you get to a certain age, and the mac and cheese just doesn't do the thing.
and then you
anymore.
learn the habits in that age, and then it still continues on to the rest of your
Oh
life.
my gosh.
But yeah, I would always say, "Oh, yeah, how many boys do you have?" And I'd count the boxes, and I'd say, "You have X amount of boys," and they'd always laugh, and they'd go, "How did you know?" Mac and cheese.
Mac and cheese ratio, yeah.
I
was
lived on
spoiled.
mac and cheese as a teenage boy.
Oh, my kiddo doesn't like mac and cheese.
Mine
I
do-
have to cook like bougie things like ribs and. My
you
kid
shot
likes
yourself in the foot then.
protein. I don't know why. He's an anti-carb.
Well, maybe it's because his mum was an aspiring MasterChef chef.
It's true. He's so lucky.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, to be fair, if I was experiencing the beautiful dishes that you happen to plate up, I'm sure I would have a bit more ritzy taste too.
Well, you're very kind, both of you. And then I have one child that just really loves air fried
Oh, how good
things
is
that come
air
in a
fried
packet.
chicken nuggets?
Nuggies.
I had been
Nuggies and
told
chippies.
Nuggets and chippies.
I had been told you need to get an air fryer for a long time, and part of my neurodiversity is I have to have all my appliances the same color.
Yeah.
And I
What
could
colour are
not.
your appliances?
They're all like a cream beige retro
yeah.
sort of style.
Okay,
I'll show you some
okay.
pictures
Yep,
later.
yep.
But the air fryer, the rice cooker, the fridge, the microwave, everything is the same color.
fridge as well,
Could
wow.
not find an air fryer that was that color for like 3 years.
And now,
Has one
I-
come out?
I got one.
Surely
got an air
Smeg has
fryer.
put one out that matches their kettle and toaster.
They do not.
What?
I had to get an
Snobby Smeg.
off-brand,
Missed opportunity, Smeg.
imported from the UK from Amazon Direct.
Oh my word, he did.
I did. And since then, I don't use my oven anymore. I'm like Carrie Bradshaw. It's
so
for storing
easy.
coats
And shoes.
and shoes.
Oh my
But
god.
there's something about an air fryer, the magic of an air fryer. It's quick, it's easy.
Easy
like
to
me.
clean too. Oh my word. Yes. He's single, by the way, and has been working out profusely at the gym. You should
Yep.
follow him on the gram. He's got some good form with his reps.
it's true.
Thank you.
Yeah. I often comment with a fire emoji. One, because I'm jealous that you've got that persistence. And two, because you look mighty fine, friend.
Thank you, darling.
Yes, well.
There's been a few times we've been on a Zoom call and we're chatting very professionally and I get a message saying, your shoulders.
And then
And
a fire emoji. But they do look really good. And, you know, there's some noticeable change that's occurring. And sometimes
you.
when you're like nose to the grind doing the workouts, sometimes you don't necessarily feel that like there's been some change. And I think sometimes it's nice when an
It's the whole,
outsider
you don't see the gradual change, and outsider sees the
compliment.
big
Yeah,
jump
it's-
kind of thing. Yeah.
Well,
encourage you.
thank you. And it's so appreciated. And I think the interesting thing about the whole project that I'm doing with this weird Instagram-y thing that I've started is
An influencer.
Yeah, trying.
Used to try and get a free gym membership at some point.
I just want some free shoes.
Yeah.
I just want some protein products. Open to sponsorship. Any
Look, we
protein
are two
brands.
guys.
Reason
We're
anyone
still,
does
we've
any of
been
this
chipping
stuff,
away
let's be
for
honest.
1.5 seasons.
It's
and
amazing.
Where is IKEA's sponsorship? Nada.
It's around the corner, surely. You'll get there.
Surely. I mean, really. And Vumi? Like, I've been
Surely
talking about
Vumi
Vumi
and
since
Kaiko should
episode
be on
1.
board, right?
And Kaiko. Well,
I mean, you are trying to
officially, unofficially
imply
sponsored.
that we are sponsored by showing all the brands.
We are not. We just like the stuff.
We do like
We
the
do like
stuff.
Kaiko.
yeah, and we are like prime fidgets in their prime.
Yep.
Yeah, so the really interesting thing about me trying this new social thing was really about me pushing myself. And the interesting thing is I had friends commenting, being like, what are you doing all this for? You're putting so much time, effort, money, resources, whatever. You're really investing into this. Like, why? And I thought, well, you know what? If I'm going to be doing it, I might as well document it, put it out there. Someone might find it interesting. But the interesting thing is as well, from a behavioral point of view, I mean, I'm all about data. And the interesting thing is I'm still operating the last century where everything is paper. I really find reading paper, reading graphs, I can read the data on paper really well.
Bless you.
Don't understand computers.
It hurts my eyes.
It hurts my eyes.
I
yeah.
legit said that to Tim today after I got home from work. I was like, my computer was shining in my eyes and I didn't like it today. And he goes, what's different? I was like, I don't know, my eyes hurt now.
You're old.
Like a bear. I'm old.
It's tough. It's tough getting older.
But you are documenting it for the data.
I'm documenting it, and that's the thing is like when I'm reading the data of any one of my clients, any one of my learners, any one of my staff, it's really easy to see the picture, right? Because when we're doing reviews, it's after a period of data has sort of been collected. But when I'm doing the gym every single day, and I tend to not be one to sort of look back and look at photos and things, I'm sort of very much a charging forward, knowing that we're going in the right direction. But it's really easy to sort of not look at that data and forget where we came from. And it's really interesting because having someone like yourself who I might only see on Zoom every couple of weeks or occasionally every couple of months to give me that feedback of going, oh, I'm noticing a difference, or, some clients that I haven't seen in a while and things, making those comments. It's really nice because sometimes when you're in the middle of something, you're a little bit too close to it. So it's really nice to get that
100%.
outside perspective.
For sure.
Thank you.
But I think your gym side of things, not just for a bit of I want to start a new Instagram account, but I think part of that has also been part of what you were saying earlier about looking after yourself and actually prioritizing your health and your well-being and tipping into yourself in something that is actually making you feel good as well, which does sort of help to circumvent the burnout and the whole is all I do work, or is all I do my business, or is all I do,
Paint my car.
well, your car is going to look excellent.
It's going to look fantastic.
After it was abducted and returned with stickers of
And
hazard
drugs.
and drugs.
Wow.
Look, they really cleaned it, so there's no hope for the rest of us that might want to see what might have been through on those seats, but let's not run a blue light through it, eh?
No.
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 It's just best not to ask questions. But it's clean now. Clancy's clean.
Clancy's
and,
clean.
And Clancy is now returning to former glory,
It's going to surpass his former glory.
former colour,
Yep.
before
look better than it
before he
was
got
before he got
adulterated and sprayed by the thieves.
Lucas is sitting here very kindly going, I have no freaking idea what's going on, but I'll smile and nod.
Trying my best.
His car got stolen, all right, and then got returned. And there was drugs in it. Definitely. Maybe the powder variety. Are there any needles?
That was
in there?
meth.
It was meth.
Yeah.
Now, for those of us who don't know about meth, is that needles or powder?
Well, it's
Oh, is that the brulee?
well, yeah.
Where you burn
No,
it?
Breaking Bad, blue glass,
Blue glass.
in bags,
yeah.
Yes.
Yes. There
Like
you go.
crystals.
crystals.
And then
there
you
go.
crunch it, and then you can
Yeah.
sniff it, or you
Or you
can
can burn it with
light
a
it,
spoon. And
burn it with the
then
spoon.
Inject it.
The more you know.
and then
The
and
real
then you
Zeal
inject
pod,
it,
everyone.
And then you shove it in.
Yeah, that's it.
You don't drink it.
Not in the wrong hole.
No holes. No. Well,
The mouth is a hole.
I just realised that was a pre-recording bit of banter between us all, not something that was on the podcast. You got no idea what we're talking about.
there's a lot of talk about holes and balls tonight. I do not know where this is now trajecting. Berkey,
The first
dig us
time
out of the
you've
hole.
had two guys on the podcast with you, Trish. What did you expect?
There's a lot of cocks in this room. And I'm cocky, so I fit in.
It's true.
Hooray. Okay.
Hello, Cocky.
Hello. Holly on a cracker. This has gone wayward.
It's gone far too far.
The side quest light's been on since the beginning because we did not know where this would go, and clearly it's been one big, large side quest.
But Lucas, thank you so much for coming and hanging with us and sharing about what you do and behavioural and stuff like that. I just want to ask one more thing before we finish up.
Oh, please.
Absolutely.
So how do you find then, as you know, talking about the gym stuff that you're trying to do to build or prevent burnout or to build better routines into things like that? One of the things we were talking about last episode was around seasonal grooves that we get into as neurodiverse people, and that habits are really hard to get into and stick at and things like that. How do you combat that? How do you go against that kind
Good
of?
question.
This
He's
is working
still-
really well now.
He's getting
and it's gonna fall apart.
dopamine. He's getting dopamine so far, I'm guessing.
It's actually a good question in that I would say it's a horrible question to ask me.
Because you will drop it like it's hot.
So the interesting thing about me when it comes to behavior is I started working in my field when I was 19.
Yep.
So I view the world through a behavioral lens.
Yeah.
Right? And so I actually do a lot of behavioral therapy on myself. And so for me, it's really easy to set a goal, design a program, have measurable sort of outcomes, have measurable milestones, and build in reinforcement.
I don't have that wiring, everyone. That got gypped from my neurodivergent brain.
Trish, you can always call and ask for some tips and tricks, and I'll hold you accountable. I'll be your accountability buddy. Whenever you need.
This is going to happen, isn't it? I
might-
feel like
it may
I
well.
didn't even sign up for it, and Lucas will be knocking on my door going, hello, I'm
you
here.
love my
Come to
shoulders,
the
clearly.
gym, Trish.
You know
You
what?
said it once.
I will be one of those dark side victims that'll be like, I'm in. Let
Let's
me
give it a
just
go.
buy $700 worth of gear to get fit before I
Trust
start.
and believe. That is part of the neurodiversity process.
Trust and believe and buying the gear.
I have dropped on the gear. You cannot start a hobby until you are fully equipped
got all
to
the
be a
gear.
professional at it.
100%. Golf. I feel like a one-time episode, and he's got the freaking vest and the nice trousers.
Do you know how many golf shirts I've bought?
Oh my word! I can't even imagine
All of
how
them.
many times have you played
All
golf
of them.
since those photos were taken? Niente.
No, 4 times.
Oh, okay.
I've played golf 4 times.
So really,
But-
the gear is worth $300 per wear now because you've worn it 4 times.
But I had only been to the driving range 1 time when I committed
and
to
decided
buying
to
a
be all
golf
in.
bag, buying several outfits, doing a bunch of research, and a golf membership.
And he's hyper-focused, and now he's like the next up-and-coming on the pro golf tour.
Look, I was told that I was the next Tiger Woods, but
Shut the front door. Well, this is spoken like a true ADHDer, is like once they turn their hand at something, they bloody nail it. And he's doing it, and he looks good doing it.
trying. Thank you.
So-
Thank you. I do look good on a golf course. I did learn that one.
Okay.
But in answer to your question, Burke,
Because of all the gym workouts.
Yeah, so in answer to your question, it's one of those things that I find that I'm really good at sort of setting a lot of goals, setting intentions, putting together a plan. And I think my weird superpower is that one of my friends says to me, you know, it's not that what I do is any more special. It's not that I have any more, particular magic special sauce.
Yeah.
It's that I come up with an idea, which everyone has amazing ideas, put together a plan, and then I get started and I follow the plan. Now, easier said than done, right?
Oh, yeah.
For me, the challenge is to actually take the time to smell the roses and enjoy the process.
Okay.
And that's one of the things that I've loved throughout this gym experience is it's been fun. It's been a bit of a hyper focus. It's part of my routine now. I go to the gym, I meal prep, I track what I'm eating.
Yeah.
It's very much part of my process. But it's not always easy, and there are challenges along the way. And I think that as a behavioral consultant, having empathy for my kiddos that just because the data's looking good, just because we're achieving the milestones, doesn't mean we're enjoying
feeling it
ourselves
that day.
along the way, and doesn't mean that those high moments doesn't mean that they're not compounded with some profound challenges. And I think that empathy has been really important for me to sort of create that juxtaposition, and so that's one of the things. So I'm absolutely loving the consistency. I'm loving going to the gym, but the balance for me is on the other end of learning to enjoy the process. And unfortunately, going to the gym is one of those things that just takes time. Like I've been going for 2.5, 3 years now.
Yep.
And I've set the intention of doing a bodybuilding show, and I'm really stoked at the progress I've made towards that. But, I was looking in the mirror the other day and I was like, I don't look like a bodybuilder yet. And I'm supposed to be competing, early next year. When does that happen?
You haven't started eating just the straight bowls of broccoli.
Started bulking yet, right?
Oh, I do. There's only so much broccoli you can eat, my darling.
Apparently not. When I had one of my female friends at work, when I worked with adults, she was a physio and she was chowing down broccoli 4 times a day during the workday with like poached chicken, like at every possible interval, like writing notes, shoving stuff in, like running files up, shoving stuff in, and I'm like, I can't smell that anymore. I just can't. No, I'm not eating it. I'm just only 5 days a week with this friend, and she looked darn good in her very slight bikini.
I'm
and
hoping
her
that
Arnold Schwarzenegger poses. She looked
I'm hoping that someone will say I look darn good in my
I will
slight
be.
bikini.
I will be front row while you're in your budgie smugglers
More
that are
than
blue
welcome.
and glistening, or something like the ones you were wearing in that pool shop, at the river. That was very nice.
I'm thinking purple. So you'll have to help me choose
Yeah, like
my
that kind of a
bikini
purple,
colour.
like you're holding.
Thank
like
you,
a
yeah.
metallic-y purple. You need
Beautiful
some
metallic-y,
shine.
shiny, shimmery.
100%.
Yep.
We'll be cheer squad. We can be good
100.
at that. We can be endorsers of your holy grail. 100%.
Absolutely. I do want.
I have cowbells if that's helpful. I
Cowbells
bought cowbells
galore.
Always need more
cheering for
cowbell.
marathon runners. You know, I'm invested.
I'm really stoked at the idea that I might win a 30-cent plastic medal.
Yes.
After, working hard for 4
makes it all
years,
worth it.
eating,
All that
spending
money,
countless money on
yeah.
nutrition, supplements.
And protein yogurt.
To win a 40-cent plastic medal is the most exciting thing I can think about.
It might be more than 40 cents. I mean, really, on
Well,
Temu,
inflation.
my Golden Globe Award little knockoffs that I'm, thinking that I am owed from all my masking over the years. 38
Have you
years
actually
of
gone
Golden.
and done it, or you
I've
just
looked
every
at them, but I keep looking at them going, they just look like plastic pieces of shit. Like, I don't want to display them. It is Temu. These are Temu and I love them. Why won't you pierce your ears to wear the earrings, Berkey?
I've got
No
some,
commitment.
I've got some pierced earrings, so if you've got a spare pair,
Oh,
let
I
me
do.
know.
And Lucas is going
Does
to
she
get
have
a
a spare
cap.
pair?
Yeah, I do. I bought 10.
Exactly.
I have given some away, but I also do. We do have caps because we're
do.
sun smart on Real Zeal, and it might look good when you're on the golf course.
I will wear it on the golf course and I will tag the Real Zeal. Hashtag the Real Zeal.
Yeah, well,
Is that a hashtag?
it is.
It might be now.
Yeah, ADHD life,
And also because Trish needs to get rid of another 10 caps.
because I bought them on Temu, and they came cheaper.
Minimum
as
10
a-
order.
Yeah,
You got to
but-
do it
But
sometimes.
for $4 a cap.
So in case you missed that, hash brown, the Real Zeal.
Hash brown.
Hash brown, the Real Zeal.
What the heck is a hash brown?
I don't know.
A hash
I'm
brown.
old. Like a real hash brown, or
Yeah,
is
like a
this
real
like a
hash brown.
youth speak for some euphemism that I don't know about?
No, it's just like hashtag hash brown.
Oh,
I've got some catching up to do before while I'm doom
Sure do.
scrolling tonight.
That's
just
it.
to work that out.
Yeah.
Well, Lucas,
thank you so much for joining us.
you're a treasure and a pleasure, and maybe you'll come back if you so wish, because
Wild horses could not keep me away from
Excellent.
being on this couch.
I really feel like you were just coming for the pre-show drinks.
The pre-show drinks were worth it. Worth the drive.
Usually
Downed them very fast.
That's what, yep.
Nah, so good. So good. Well, we are delighted that you came to share your wisdom with us. And I actually think lots of things for us to ponder personally for us.
Oh, for sure.
And for our
the whole reason
tiny
we do this,
humans.
right?
Yeah. And also, I just love that a lot of the one-liners that you were throwing out, part of your conversation tonight, were things that we, every episode, circle back to.
Yeah.
That lens of compassion, that,
Empathy towards yourself.
empathy towards yourself, even being able to communicate your needs and then being respected, those needs and that communication being taken aboard and, worked with. It's so important.
It really is.
Well, I'm Trish,
I'm Berkey.
and we think you should get yourself some
Real
Real Zeal.
Zeal.
Bye.
The audience.
Which camera to look at? I've been looking at that one,
That's
and that
fine.
one's
Well, that's the one that wasn't actually looking at you. So
for fuck's sake. That's the one I looked at the most.
I got to a point where I realized I hadn't looked at the cameras once. Then I started
And then you were like,
staring at it.
guys,
Actually, more because I used to be. Well, this is a bit TMI. This is not going in the pod, but I used to be fully.
it'll be in the outtakes.
Oh.
Oh, that's why. That's why.
I wasn't in hard enough. I didn't.
I'm not saying anything. Lucas, can you talk, please?
Oh, well done missing the glass. It's not as uncool as most ADHD.
Well, do you know why? My wife had to wake me up at 10:45 this morning and
you're
go, "Are you
still
going to get out of
medicated."
bed?"
You had a really nice sleep in.
I don't
I've
realize
been
that
up
ended up my
since-
meds at like 11:30 instead of
So
9.
they're probably still working, and mine stopped working at 1 o'clock.
Yeah.